and then we'll do one.
While you're doing that, Joe, I'm gonna give a quick and dirty overview. So Joe touched on it earlier. We try to keep this very non-salesy. This is all about the special interest group. This is about having different speakers come in, and this is just community. But I had a conversation with Scott Anderson, Skykick, everybody know Scott, last week.
I just got hired on this guy.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Well, so Scott and I were chatting last time, and he was asking a little bit more about, what do you do about the vetting and how does that work? And so I thought it might be helpful. Actually, there's two parts to this. One, I want to let you guys know how we're doing this, and two, I want to get your input on how we can do this better. So I've only got a couple minutes, so I'm not going to go deep into my background other than to say I've been doing this gig for about 20 years in the Seattle area. I'm trying to get better at it by asking questions to see how we can kind of refine the process. So one of the questions is what's Quardev do other than hosting this QA-SIG every other month? And does everybody feel pretty comfortable about knowing what we do?
I
Got a handle on that? I mean, pardon?
You're a recruiter.
I am we're all recruiters and we're all salespeople. My job title is biz dev guy, but I'm a sales guy. I'm the client-facing side, so I go out and I ask people, what are you doing? What are your strategic initiatives? And I do a resource gap analysis to figure out how we can help them. And that's going to come in two basic forms. We're going to do a project where we own the deliverable. And in some instances, that's easier for us because once we define what that deliverable is, we know exactly what the resource is to put on that. And we own that. We've got a lab in the basement, and we might do it that way. We might do it with our team on site, on the client site, or we might do it with our team here. Now, we're always thought as quality assurance. Through the years, we've branched out to a lot more than that. So it's really anything you need within the IT spectrum on an individual contributor basis. If you want to have a project done, it's going to be QA. And we're either going to do it here, or we're going to do it on your site, or we're going to provide individual resources. But if you needed a program manager, or a project manager, or a DevOps engineer, or anything within the IT spectrum, we do that too. Now, the question is, okay, you're like everybody else, right? You're a staffing company. How do we get better at doing that? So the example that I wanted to give you on how we vet individual contributors is a specific client that we had downtown that we blended our methods with their methods. So we own the project, we're hiring the people in to do a project, we know what they need. So we have a fairly rigorous program where you need to come in on one of our projects and you need to whiteboard, and we're going to give you coding to do if you're an SDET, and we're going to review that code and we'll feel pretty warm and fuzzy about it. Where it gets harder is how you apply that to the client side. So we went down to, 5 or 6 of our most challenging buyers, managers, and said, guys, this is the coding test that we give when we're vetting for this type of project. Tell us more about your groups and how we can blend our basic questions into your specific questions. And before you guys ever see a candidate, we're going to put them through this. And so it's a little bit more rigorous. We're not looking for super high volume, but we're looking for super high quality. So we're not going to throw a bunch of resumes over the fence, but the ones that we send over, we know based on our questions and the questions that we developed in conjunction with the client, they're going to be pretty darn close to what they need. So that was just an extra layer of how we go about vetting for individual contributors out at a client site where we don't own the deliverable. And I guess my question for the crowd is, do you guys see value in that, and how might you tweak that to make it better on the client side? Boy, it got quiet in here.
You're asking how we can help you.
Well, no, I'm asking you if you were trying to provide a resource to the client and vet them to make sure that they were spot on, as close as they could be to a perfect fit for that, knowing the questions, blending them with our basic questions. Is there anything else that you guys would do, or is that enough?
So we're helping you be successful
to land that role, right? So we have internal processes that we use to kind of help you to become familiar with the hiring manager, their quirks, their nuances, the team, the culture, the company, the project itself. What are you going to be working on? How, like, if you're thinking about the vetting process that Jim's describing, are there any other ways that we could be doing a better job to help you to go in and land that position?
Yes.
Okay.
So you have a candidate with a disability of some kind. And it's the kind of disability that's real hard for the candidate to assert himself and ask for the right accommodations that he needs. Can you, as the person who's working with the client, forward that information to the client, saying, this is my candidate, here's what he's going to need in order to be able to do a good job while he's here. I know he can do it. I've tested him. He's a good candidate. He can write the code. He can do the work. But he needs X, Y, and Z, and he has a hard time asking for it himself. I'm asking for it for him.
Absolutely, that's why he uses. We're the bridge. We're kind of the glue that keeps that together. So buying decisions are 50% technical and 50% team fit. And pretty much every one of my buying managers will agree. And some companies are more about, hey, are they going to be a team fit? So maybe that's skewed a little bit one way or the other. What I'm talking about in doing the assessments, that only gets me halfway. That gets me to the technical part. So my job is to understand what the team looks like, what the seating looks like, what the environment is like, what the managers are like, how you interact with other teams. Everything that's outside of the technical part, which is a given. You're going to have this. Now, if you don't have that, so you've got 90% of what they're asking for, I'm going to be the guy that says, you know what, they don't have that 110%, but look at all the other skills that they have and what they bring, the depth of knowledge that helps mitigate the fact that they don't have that 10%. But I'm also the one saying, whatever the issue might be, this person is going to be really great on a dynamic team where they get a lot of, end user exposure, or this person is going to be better off on a quieter team, or whatever that is. That's the other half of what we do. And that's also part of the glue that where we try to keep it all together. That's totally incumbent upon us to understand what that environment is and communicate whatever the challenge is to the manager way ahead of time. We don't like surprises. We want to be obvious about everything.
I don't get that from a lot of recruiters.
Well, it always comes out in the wash. Doesn't matter. I mean, good, bad, or indifferent. You're not going to hide anything ever. It's always going to come out. So why not bring it up and work through it up front? Candidates appreciate it. Clients appreciate it. You know where you stand.
Mm-hmm. So then I would take it that it would be harder for you to, I'm a client, I'm in New Jersey, I don't have a Seattle office, I'm calling you up and I'm looking for people. You're going to be able to do the technical part, but knowing my teams and how my environment works and how my people relate to one another will be very hard for you to do. So
Absolutely.
you'll say, we're not the best recruiter for you, we're really out here, we recommend our friend Joe, who happens to have a shop in New Jersey, go work with them.
I have a large client who has multiple sites in the country, and they've asked me to recruit for them in California and Florida and elsewhere, and I've said no, because I can't.
You can't do the other half.
But on the other hand, we do have a couple of clients, but we throw that out up front. Mm-hmm. We're not going to give you the level of vetting that we're going to give you at home in our backyard, where hopefully we know the person, we've worked with them, we have some kind of relationship. We can speak to that a lot better than we can somebody, anybody can shuffle paper on the East Coast. That's a different program. So that becomes hard for us to do, but we're also not bashful about telling our clients that it's hard for us to do, and that we probably, we're not going to fly out there and we don't have a presence there. So it becomes more difficult.
I have a question. For the team fit component, how do you go about assessing a person's personality and what kind of person they are and such? There's really no formal way to do it. Is it all kind of like what you've gleaned from the person by talking to them?
We prefer electroshock therapy.
I was just thinking that.
No, we just want to sit down with people and ask them and see. Some people are more extroverted, some people are more introverted. And we try to align the stars, right? What are your technical skills and what are your career aspirations and what are the groups like? You know, some places might be better than others, and it's a little, so I try to do the best job I can to paint a picture for the recruiting team about what I need on hard skills and soft skills. And then we'll all sit down together. That's why we're kind of big fans about meeting people. You know, you look really good on paper. We're considering this position. Come on in and let's talk about it. And then we'll ask open-ended questions just to see where your natural tendencies will tend to go. And then we'll try to figure out if that's going to be a comfortable fit for you or not.
Jim, I just wanted to add too that that does come up when we're meeting with you for the first time or even on a phone conversation. But often we'll ask you, tell us about your best and worst manager and why that was, right? So, and when you answer that question for us, you're really starting to give us an idea of the environment that you thrive in. And we'll do the same like with environment. So there are some folks, for instance, that'll say, you know, to me, they'll say, Cindy, you know, I am a senior developer. I know I could do this job, but if it's an open floor plan, don't even put me in front of the manager because I know I won't be successful there. And so, like, we try to vet that out with you during our initial conversations. It means, of course, that we're not going to be able to present you to every hiring manager, but on the flip side, the teams that we do present you to, you're going to have a greater chance of success there because the match will be there, right? And then the other thing, going back to communicating to hiring managers specific needs for their future team member. In some cases, we have team members that have to leave the office every day at 5 because daycare charges, I don't know how much if they're late picking up their family. We have another team member who's very active in a specific sport. 6 months out of the year, they're gone every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m., right? Other people have greater needs where they really, you know, maybe they have sensitivity to noise or fragrance or whatever. It's important to remember that we communicate those needs to hiring managers in a very confidential way. And the other thing that's important to remember is if one of our team members or any recruiter comes back to you and says kind of the answer is no, that this isn't the right fit, it doesn't necessarily mean never. So the word no does not mean never. There still might be a position for you in that environment and with that company, maybe just not that position. Does that make sense?
And I'm over time, so I'm going to cut it short. If anybody wants to talk more about this, call me. You know, we do have to ask weird questions. I mean, one of the silly ones to me is geographic location.
Oh, right.
Yeah, where are you willing to work? What's comfortable for you?
Yeah.
Can you commute 2 hours? You know, some people are just like, yeah, this is a great job. I'm totally into it. And no, I don't want you to take that job because I don't want you in the car 4 hours a day. This is not going to last for anyway. Thanks, guys. But maybe we'll cover a little bit more of this next time. But I wanted to give you guys a feel of what we're trying to do. And it's, to a certain degree, it's easier on projects because we have a hard, fixed deliverable that we know we need to get to. It is a little bit trickier when we go out to the client site. So we're always looking for creative ways to better align with what clients' needs are. So if you have any thoughts on that, just shoot me a note.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.